Raider Nation, listen up. The Silver and Black are back in the headlines, and today's update might surprise you. The Raiders have just made two roster moves, one goodbye and one fresh start. Let's break it all down. First, it's the end of the road for Wesley Steiner. The linebacker, who joined shortly after the draft, has officially been waived. He was part of that post-draft wave of signings, but barely had time to unpack. In just a couple of weeks, Steiner's journey with the Raiders has come to a close. Why? Because the Raiders are bringing in someone new, Michael Barrett. If the name rings a bell, it's probably because you watched him win a national championship at the University of Michigan. Barrett's a gritty linebacker who spent time on the practice squads of the Panthers, Seahawks, Steelers, and Packers. He didn't put up any stats last season, but he's been a reliable presence on special teams, and that might just be where he earns his shot in Vegas. Before we dive deeper into why Barrett was brought in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a Raiders update. Trust me, you won't want to be the last to know. Now, back to the field. Over at OTAs, Christian Wilkins was spotted stretching, no helmet, not participating yet, but looking sharp. And Colton Miller, he's there too. Still working on a contract extension, but showing up speaks volumes about his leadership. That's what Raider grit looks like. Let's get back to Christian Wilkins for a moment. There were a lot of rumors flying around, people saying he started OTAs in a walking boot. But here's the truth. I dug into it, spoke directly with Raiders insider Tashan Reed, and confirmed my earlier report. Wilkins is fine. The earlier buzz, flat out wrong. Now, let's get into why the Raiders signed Michael Barrett. This move isn't random, it's strategic. Barrett is a Michigan guy, and that means something to this organization. Just think about it. Tom Brady, Michigan man, GM Tom Telesco, same roots. John Spytek, same Wolverines connection. Barrett even played on the same team with Brady back in college. These shared ties go deep. But it's more than just alumni loyalty. Barrett is a 6-year veteran of college football who knows what it means to be part of a winning culture. In a time when players are bouncing around schools and chasing NIL deals, Barrett stuck it out and helped his team win the 2023 National Championship. That matters to the Raiders. They're looking for guys who keep football first, guys who buy into a system and know how to grind through adversity. Barrett was also a 2-time All-Big Ten selection, and across his career, he played in 62 college games. That level of experience is exactly the kind of foundation the Raiders want as they try to build a locker room full of serious, battle-tested talent. When you look at Michael Barrett's final 2 seasons at Michigan, the numbers speak loud. 137 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles in 29 games. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Barrett is some highlight reel machine. He's not a player that'll make headlines every week. But that's not what the Raiders need from him. What they do need is a guy who's ready to show up, compete from day one, and push the rest of the linebacker room to be better. And that's exactly what Barrett brings. Competition is everything in May, and Barrett is stepping into a linebacker group that's still finding its identity outside of Allen and Roberts. Depending on how many LBs this team decides to keep, Barrett could absolutely earn a spot. Why? Because he brings something different. He's got solid coverage skills, which stands out on a team still searching for a linebacker who can truly cover space. He also shows strong potential as a special teams contributor. And let's be honest, with the NFL's evolving return rules, that's become more valuable than ever. Barrett isn't just versatile, he's relentless. Coaches and scouts have praised his work ethic, and that's exactly the kind of player this Raiders front office is after. Here's what NFL draft analyst Lance Zierlein said about him. 6-year Wolverine who has shown steady improvement over the last 2 or 3 years. Barrett lacks ideal size to take on big blockers and doesn't play proactively enough to stay ahead of them. His lateral burst is average, but when he lines up his target, he's a ferocious striker and wrap-up tackler. Barrett's instincts need work, but his coverage talent and special teams ability give him a shot at making a roster as a nickel, dime linebacker. That last part, that's key. Barrett isn't like the rest of the guys in the linebacker room. He can contribute on special teams, he can drop back in coverage, and he has the potential to line up in the nickel when needed. He's not just depth, he's dynamic depth. And for a team like the Raiders, that's the kind of player who can quietly make a real impact. It's clear the Raiders weren't just chasing talent when they signed Michael Barrett. They were chasing energy, hustle. That juice that maybe Wesley Steiner just didn't bring to the linebacker room. Barrett's Michigan background, his special teams value, and his competitive mindset, all of that fits the mold of what the Raiders want. That's why he's here. Now, while we're talking about moves that could impact the Raiders, let's shift to one of the biggest NFL rule updates that just dropped. And yes, it directly affects the silver and black. The tush push, that quarterback sneak play the Eagles made famous, is officially staying. The league voted on a potential ban, and it didn't pass. According to Adam Schefter, the proposal failed to get the 75% support it needed at the league meeting in Minneapolis. Final vote? 22 teams wanted to ban it. 10 wanted to keep it. The Raiders were among those 22 in favor of banning the play. Now, you might be thinking, why does this matter for the Raiders? Because it tells us something. The Raiders have been planning around this play, either to stop it or maybe even to use it themselves. And don't be surprised if they roll out their own version of it this season. Let's be real. The Eagles embarrassed teams with the tush push. And if you've been watching the Raiders this offseason, there's a pattern. They're following a blueprint, one that worked. After Philly outmuscled Kansas City in the Super Bowl, I said it then. If I'm the Raiders, I'm copying that formula. Build strength in the trenches, control the line, win physically. Same idea when Tampa Bay beat Mahomes and the Chiefs in 2019. Strong defense, tough O-line, smash-mouth football. That's the direction the Raiders are heading in now. And whether the tush push is legal or not, they're clearly building a team that wants to win in the dirty zones, right at the line of scrimmage. The Raiders aren't just building depth. They're building the kind of roster the Eagles have built for years. That's no accident. They even brought in 2 former Eagles executives, Anthony Patch and Brandon Hunt, guys who worked closely with Howie Roseman, the architect of Philly's tough physical football identity. That same mentality is coming to Vegas. John Spytech said it best recently. Whoever plays harder, longer, wins. That's been the Eagles' style. That's now the Raiders' mindset. And if you think the tush push doesn't impact the Raiders, remember this. Las Vegas plays the Eagles in Week 15. That's right, December 14th. Circle the date. You can bet Philly will line up and run the tush push that day. It's a test the Raiders need to be ready for. Even the Raiders' schedule reveal video hinted at it. They used a mock version of the tush push, maybe with Geno Smith, Dylan Parham, and possibly Brock Bowers, to announce that matchup. It wasn't just a joke. It was a message. The Raiders know what's coming, and they're planning for it. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. Roger Goodell reportedly supported banning the tush push. And if the commissioner wants something, it usually happens. The Raiders saw that coming. They've been preparing for that scenario all offseason. Because if you can't run the tush push anymore, how do you keep drives alive on 3rd or 4th and short? You build a team that can extend drives the hard way. You bring in physical offensive linemen. You draft tight ends who block like linemen and move like receivers. You look for running backs who push piles. You find guys who can win those inches without the tush push. The Raiders already have a list of players who might have been their solution if the rule got banned, and they might still use those guys in short yardage situations, even with the rule intact. Bottom line, whether the tush push stays or goes, the Raiders are building a team that can win up front, just like the Eagles.